Sea Viper is finally on a Street Fighter 6, and I know that a ton of players, both new and legacy, are gonna be picking this character up either because they miss her from the Ultra Street Fighter 4 era or they have never played her. So in this video I want to help you with 5 things that you must know about Sea Viper to start winning consistently and get better with the character quick, easy and effective. So let's get into it. Okay, so first thing that you gotta learn and understand about Viper is that I know that the execution requirements can be crazy, but you should completely ignore feints. You know, all the stuff that I'm doing on the screen, the stuff that I did with the combos, they are not as relevant as you think. The big execution requirement and mechanic that you should learn at the start is super jumping and super jump cancels, okay? This is much more relevant than feints, and even though you can use feint on combos to extend them, most of the things that you're gonna do on neutral are gonna be dependent on super jump and super jump cancels, and that is a much more relevant, you know, part of Viper's game plan than the feints, okay? And there is so much that Viper does that is super jump related that it is the most relevant mechanic about the character when we talk about the uniqueness of her. Like, this is the thing that you gotta learn about her at the start. You can worry about the feints later. So let me explain to you what a super jump and a super jump cancel are. And well, super jumps are actually a very common mechanic in multiple fighting games, but it is not present on Street Fighter 6, and it is unique to Viper in this game. And the way that you do it is that you press down up or down up forward, and you're gonna see Viper do this huge jump that you can cancel into burning kick, for example, one of her key special moves. And there's a visual cue when you get a super jump. You see this kind of smoke in the floor, and you know that you got a super jump basically. And there is also super jump cancel, because when you input a super jump, you can actually cancel it into special moves, okay? So for example, you can do a super jump and right away do the input for a burning kick, either light, heavy or medium, whatever version you want, and the super jump is gonna get canceled right away into the special move, and it's gonna give you the version in the air of burning kick, okay? And just so you are conscious and actually understand how relevant these mechanics are for Viper, here's a small list of examples of stuff that you can do with the character only because of super jumps or super jump cancels. You can make your opponent's anti-air whiffs, because you can cancel super jump when it's already in the air late into light burning kick and you're gonna stay in place. You can do cross-ups up close if you do a super jump cancel into medium burning kick. You can also in the corner be +4 on block if you do super jump cancel into EX burning kick. You can also loop hammers in the floor, you know, this move in which Viper hits the floor and it is like a full screen check. Yes, you can loop it if you super jump cancel it, and more, okay? Of course, you also have exclusive combo routes with super jump cancels. So if you want to play Viper, worry about learning super jumps, super jump cancels, and at the last tip in this video, I'm gonna help you with some execution details that might be useful. Okay, and now the second thing that you gotta learn about Viper just a bit more is her neutral, okay? Why? Because Viper doesn't have the most traditional super grounded Street Fighter neutral in comparison to other classic characters, you know, like the Shotos and Street Fighter 6 that are very fireball heavy, anti-air heavy characters. Viper does have a good anti-air, and she does have some neutral control tools with the Seismic Hammer loops, for example, but that is not necessarily the strongest part of her kit. And even though you still have to play solid, you know, you have to play your grounded movement and use your best buttons in the mid-range and also wait for people to jump in to anti-air them, you should also sometimes go crazy, okay, with Viper, because she has a super jump, and with the super jump you have a full screen neutral skip. And for example, if you do a super jump and then use one or whatever version of burning kick that you want, you can play a lot of mind games with your opponent. You know, with the light version, you lose momentum in the air, so if they try to anti-air you, they might end up whiffing a DP and you get a full combo on them. And then if you're seeing that people are actually afraid of anti-airing your super jumps, you can cancel them into burning kick super late, especially if you do it into EX burning kick, because it is actually gonna be plus on block. It's literally a full screen, you know, neutral skip that can be plus on block potentially. So you should be using super jumps, super jump cancels if you want to do burning kick right away instead of, you know, doing the super jump and doing it later. And more stuff like this, that it is very relevant to Viper's identity, and it's gonna make her neutral very, very hard to deal with, okay? So do not sleep on super jumping, super jump canceling, and also in closer ranges, you could use the light and medium versions of Thunder Dash. The heavy is your anti-air, mostly because they actually are safe on block, but you do need to space them well and you're giving away your turn. So I would say that most of the time it is actually just a better option to either super jump cancel into burning kick or just super jump normally and then cancel the burning kick late if you want to mix up, you know, your opponent, or maybe get an extra turn trying to be plus or neutral in terms of frames. So yeah, try to get used to, you know, how VIPER plays maybe a different game than other Street Fighter characters in the neutral. Hey, just in the case that you've been enjoying the content until now or find it useful and learn something, please consider giving the video a like and subscribing. It helps me a ton to keep the channel growing. I cover a ton of different fighting games, Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, 2XKO, and more. So I hope that you liked it, and now let's get into tip number 3. And for tip number 3, we gotta talk about buttons, and we have to discuss crouching medium kick and a standing medium kick for VIPER, because I know that a lot of people are gonna sleep on these buttons, maybe because they are not cancelable into drive rush on hit, but they are insane buttons to throw out in neutral after empty drive rushing. And we all know that Street Fighter 6 a lot of the times is like drive rush the game, you know. That's kind of like the basic dynamic of the neutral Street Fighter, drive rushing in and getting your offense going. And with VIPER, if you can drive rush in and do, you know, crouching medium kick or standing medium kick, is just such a good option because the range on them is huge. Like, these buttons are very big, and you can of course maybe convert them into supers if you have the reactions. You can also combo after them because they are plus enough after drive rush to do combos. So I just wanted to kind of like showcase these two buttons because I feel like a lot of people are not going to be using them as much just because they are not cancelable into drive rush on hit. So do not sleep on these two buttons, crouching medium kick and standing medium kick, only because they are not cancelable, because they're actually great buttons to use in neutral after drive rushing, and you should be doing that a lot in your matches. And for tip number 4, what do I do when I'm already up close? I already learned how to play neutral, I know how to use a couple of buttons after drive rush. Well, when you're already on top of the face of your opponent, you should be using medium punch a lot, okay? This button is insanely good. It's probably the best up close button that VIPER has. It is really fast, and it is actually +1 on block, and you can also cancel it into some stuff that is going to leave you even more plus, like for example doing a super jump cancel into EX burning kick as soon as you can, and it is a +4 on block cross up. Yes, just like you saw it and you heard it. So you should be using this button a lot up close. It is one of the best options that VIPER has. You can either loop it if the other guy is respecting you, or you can just do one and then jab to kind of check them if they're gonna mash. And naturally you can do the same sequence after drive rush. You know, if you empty drive rush in neutral, then if you're plus enough, you can do standing medium punch and do your cross up plus sequence. Is going to be really strong. And you can also just drive rush into other buttons if you want to be even more plus and stuff like that. So you should be using this sequence a lot. It's going to be really strong. It's going to be a really scrub killer sequence because it is a cross up, and it's going to be hard to deal with it. And there's also other things that you should do up close. Of course, you should grab people. This is Street Fighter 6, so start grabbing people, okay? And then use your lows, you know, use your mix-ups. Try to see if you can also drive rush into overhead, like all of the typical stuff that anyone will want to do in a game like this. And if you start mixing all of those basic options up close with also the super jump cancels for burning kick mix-ups, it's gonna be a relatively easy time for you to open people up on defense. And now we finally get into the last tip, tip number 5. And with this one, I just want to help you with some execution if you still feel lost about super jump canceling or feints. When it comes to super jump canceling, when you input, you know, down and up or down up forward, I would recommend you to do the next input, you know, the one of the special move, like right away. Even if you have not seen the animation of the super jump, you can still do it, and the game is going to count it. You know, like the buffer for the inputs in Street Fighter 6 will count that special move that you did, even if the super jump has not been seen on the screen. And that's why you can basically do like super jump cancels that look like tiger knees, you know, and you do vernic kick in the air just like if you were on the ground, even though you get the air version of the move, okay? So try to do that, like input the super jump, but then do the input for the special move as fast as you can. Even if you don't see the super jump, it might work right away, and it's gonna be a much smoother super jump cancel than maybe if you try to react to the smoke in the ground or to the super jump animation. Like, it might be an easier way to just do it like this. Then when it comes to doing Seismic Hammer loops, they are actually quite easy if you treat them like tiger knee inputs. You know, you do the first Seismic Hammer, which is a DP input, and all the other ones that are coming next, you do a DP motion, but you end that motion instead of with forward, with up forward. So you do DP up forward, and you just, you know, do it in sequence one after the other, and you're gonna see that you are gonna get the loops very easily because it seems like the game is actually counting at the same time the super jump in the DP motion, because you add the up forward and also the DP motion itself. Okay, so again, it is counting the super jump and the special move at the same time. The buffer is kind of like mixed them, so it should be easier to do loops if you treat them like that. Just try to do DP up forward, DP up forward, and without any delay. Just do the DP, you know, and end up with up forward instead of forward, and you should be getting the Seismic Hammer loops very easily. And finally, for the feints, so that they work more consistently, what you do with feints is that you do, for example, in a special move, and you use a button from the other type of button to cancel it into a feint. So for example, if the special move that you're doing is done with punch, you have to press a kick button at the same time, and it's gonna create the feint. But the thing is, the game treats this very weirdly, because at least in my experience, the game does not register like both buttons at the same time if you just press them. You have to hold them. It's kind of weird, but if you hold both of the buttons, like the kick and punch button, after the input for the special move that you want to feint, it is actually going to be a much more consistent experience than if you try to hit it. Okay, so hold both of the buttons, and then instead of trying to actually just hit them, you release the hold for the next or whatever button that you're going to do in a combo, and then do, you know, the next feint with a hold of the two buttons again. And in that, you know, sort of logic, like every time that you want to feint, you should hold the buttons, not hit them. So that was the video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did or learned something, please consider giving the video a like and subscribing to help the channel keep growing and support it. I hope that you enjoyed See VIPER also in Street Fighter 6 or Armor King on Tekken 8 or 2XKO, whatever game that you're playing, and see you on the next one.